Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. We are here tonight talking about Discovery Season 5, Episode 7, Erigah. But I wouldn't be able to talk Trek here on NerdTube without some of the finest Trekkies I have the pleasure of knowing. To my right is Cousin Cheeto. How are you, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Can't wait to talk about this one.
Oh, I can't either. A lot to sink our teeth into, as Zam said pre-show. Speaking of him, he's down below you. The boss man himself. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Wearing my shirt that I fell asleep in famously last year. Let's hope I don't fall asleep this time around.
If you do, it'll make for great patron clips. Just
Yeah.
shorts of you just snoring.
Oh yeah.
And to Zam's left. Yeah, we'll still we'll review that episode too. We'll review the snoring episode. To Zam's left is Ensign Donkey. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Ready to talk
Glad.
Trek.
Heck yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you. So with this week's episode, with Maul and Locke finally in custody, the Federation finds itself with a new problem. An entire Brain Primarch, along with his giant warship. At the same as Michael tries to resolve this situation peacefully, the science team tries to code the final clue.
Well, you
Next
kind
slide.
of lagged out for a second,
You're back.
but you're back.
Wonderful. I'm back. I was just giving like an overview of the episode. While Michael was trying to resolve the situation with the Primarch showing up peacefully, the science team tries to decode the next clue. Splitting up Paul, Tilly, and Adira into two different squads.
Now,
before we get into the nuts and bolts, go for it.
I need to blow my trumpet here because I'm not sure
if you called it,
but I called the layout of the next few episodes. I called the fact that they were going that Monoluk was going to pass the baton onto the Breen, who were going to be the main antagonists.
Well, I said that early on. I kept on saying like every episode they've mentioned the Breen, so
but it's going to be a baton pass though, which is what we kind of got in this episode, and the fact that we already knew the Breen were to a degree the destruction of the Empire, the Federation, simply because of what we saw in the Time Bug episode. And I also said that in episode 8, which looks like what we're going to be getting next week, is they're going to get the final piece of the MacGuffin, which then we'll deal with the Breen in the last 2 episodes. So, yeah, I'm very happy with my predictions. It's nice to call it now and again.
That always is a good feeling. I totally intended to give you you both the credit for calling these things. Like I even pointed it out. I pointed it out to Leanne earlier. I'm like, I've got to say something, or Zam will say something.
Yeah, well, Zam couldn't wait, man. He was chopping at the bit to say something.
Hell yeah, I would be too if I had called it like that. Yeah. I'd have been chomping at the bit. So before we get into the nitty gritty of the different plot arcs of this episode, I want to just talk overall thoughts. Cheeto, what were your general impressions of this episode?
I loved this episode. I thought this was a great episode, balance of suspense, diplomacy, of honestly not terror, but when that Breen ship showed up, I was like, holy super Star Destroyers, Batman. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I am looking for reasons not to give it a 10 this week. So, I mean, usually all of us kind of, as we collaborate, kind of change our numbers by the end. We always start with a number in our head, and then people point things out and we're like, oh, okay, I guess that, yeah. So, but I'm going to be very hard pressed not to give this one a 10 this week. So prove me wrong, boys.
Lots to love and not very much to dislike this week. I would agree with you there. Zam, what were your overall impressions?
Well, when I saw that Breen ship, I thought, oh my god, the Colonial Space Marines are here to kill some xenomorphs, because that's the sort of ship. It's just like the ship from Aliens, when the Space Marines. And I've seen that sort of design as well. I think maybe Event Horizon or something like that. It had that sort of design about it. It was absolutely massive. I like the fact that there's this force now, which is very destructive. Shoots first, asks questions later. I'm glad it's not just the Klingons who are like that. There's this other force. They're quite xenophobic in their way as well. They're interesting. They're Borg-esque, almost. There's some elements of them because of the suits and the green light and resistance is futile, will fuck you over and all of this shit. Just take it. Collateral damage. But they're obviously not Borg. But if you know what I mean, there are some resemblances about them.
Yeah, a unified character design will do that.
What I liked about the show the most of all, it wasn't the Michael Burnham show today. I think a lot of it was spread around a lot of characters. Everyone had a part to play, so to speak. It was all set in the same. Everyone needed to get involved in some aspect, and that made it very interesting, very cool, and the pacing was great as well.
Absolutely fantastic pacing. I would agree with you there. Donkey.
Yeah, really, it really wasn't the Michael Burnham show today. We got to see, even though there were some people who were off-world, I like how they brought in the Vulcan president as the appointed speaker for the Federation. Hello, and Zam, you make me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. But it shows. Like that ship shows up and it's just they're sitting in the viewport and it's just taking up the whole view. It reminded me of that ship that they threw at the force field in season 4 of Lower Decks, the Ryan ship.
Yeah.
But this one's functioning, so that was cool. It would have been cool to see it use some firepower, but I'm sure we'll get to see that later
I think they're saving that for like the end of the season, like the final battle. Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't, because that was kind of a part of the dread that I was talking about.
That was the will. Yeah, there's this all this suspense around. Is there gonna be a fight right now? And I don't know if they maybe drew that out too long, but there's some good moments with Commander Grumpy Pants, and I thought it was really good.
If I could also add, I've seen this thing with Star Trek before. You think shit's about to go down, and it doesn't.
They teased it for so long.
I saw that in DS9 quite a lot. With some of the battles they had and all these ships coming together for some massive space battle. But no, a line was drawn in the sand, and it didn't happen. And it being the Breen, ironically as well. But
actually thought that happened more on TNG. They would find a diplomat. Like DS9 usually wasn't afraid to we're opening fire. So, but I do think that the Breen ship not firing, I was oh yeah, pew pews, yeah. But I'm I'm
talking about this humongous space battle of a whole bunch of Federation ships versus a whole bunch of.
But there weren't. It was just the station, and ships, it was the.
He's talking about during the Dominion War, which you're right.
Yeah,
there was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that really, really enhanced the suspense of this season, not just this episode, the season, when we did not get them pull the trigger on that. And I think they did that well. I think that we were waiting for that battle because we're oh yeah, they got all these special effects and everything. And, of course they love to throw VFX at us just to make us happy. And it's we had some of that, but they were nope, they bring it right there. And they're nope, we're going to pull it back, and you get to wait to see it until probably more towards the end of the season when the actual battles start.
I had a feeling they were going to do that, and they kind of did.
I mean, I kind of had a feeling too, but I was still, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm and then when the other Federation ships showed up, I'm shit may go down.
It may go down, but I would take the Breen ship over the 4 pesky little mosquitoes.
Yeah.
That were the Federation.
Because at first it was 2 ships and the station, and then a few more showed up.
Yeah, I mean,
where's the rest of the fleet?
All those ships could land in the docking bay of that Breen ship, So,
yeah, but just because it's a bigger ship does not mean. Did they really give us They really didn't give us a armament. They couldn't
penetrate the shields with the scans, so we have no idea still what that ship is capable of. So that's good tension building for down the line in episode 9 or 10.
True, but that also does not mean that their ship, just because it's bigger and they can't scan it, doesn't mean it's more advanced than, let's say, the 4 Federation ships there. You know what I want to see? I want to see a Federation ship that can do the Pym particle thing, where it just gets bigger when it needs to. Like Vance is
The
like,
USS Paul Rudd.
yeah, like hey, USS Rudd, do the thing, and like all of a sudden that one of the ships gets like as big as the Brain ship, and like.
Well, the point of the Federation is that they are they have an allegiance with a variety of different planets. So I
USS
want to see another planet or another race of alien have a ship that can match that Dominion ship. There must be. I mean, Starfleet must have a big Bertha in their pocket somewhere.
I agree with you on that. But I also think Federation is like the quintessential size doesn't matter when it comes to like. I think they more build their ships around function rather than just like like those Breen ships are like built to be bombastic and huge and intimidating. Whereas the Federation is like, no, we can stuff just as much technology on one of our normal size ships. So just because it's a huge ass ship does not mean that it's necessarily a better ship, especially against 4 or 5 other Federation vessels. Like as I said, I mean, I think they made it that big just to make it imposing. Like, but at the same time, I think like the Federation's like, look,
we didn't get to see it from end to end. It was,
yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying is like I really wouldn't discount the Federation though. I feel like yes, they had a right to be nervous, but I don't think they were like. I think they were scared of the conflict, not of the battle.
Did you guys pick up on that? Yeah. That it seemed like Vance was on edge. Like he was
very much so.
He was saying for Discovery to flee. Like he came in and let's calm down, everyone.
Well, but I think it's more they don't want to cause a war more so than just have a battle. If it was just one battle, I don't think that. But again, that tension was there. Like it was palatable in this episode.
I mean, look, that was just one Dominion ship. They've obviously got a fleet of their own, which could, in my opinion, easily take out Starfleet. And Starfleet itself is still, rebuilding itself to a degree. I mean, the Breen is already an established force. And in my opinion, I think the Breen would easily take out Starfleet. We already know this because we saw it in the Starbug episode, in the Starbug and Timebug episode. They won. Starfleet was destroyed.
Yeah.
Zora explained that to them. So I think they need to. I think this MacGuffin, what they get, is going to even the odds once they get the final piece.
But I think it's crazy. I don't feel like this technology should be something that evens up a time of war. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's a weapon. It's more like a piece of technology. But it's like it's not a weapon. Like it's not like it's like, oh, this phaser cannon can cut through any energy shield, any of them, or something. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good point,
though, because they mentioned towards the end that it could be used to bring someone back from the dead.
Oh, which I think they're going to bring
zombies. They'll bring Locke back.
Yeah, they'll bring Locke back.
Jumping ahead,
Daniel Vance did have a theory. Book will sacrifice himself to bring back all of Quajon, which might be, but again, it's kind of like the whole Dragon Ball issue where it's like there's no stakes. You know what I mean? Like Quajon being destroyed in season 4 gave it stakes, and we're just gonna wish it back with the Dragon Balls. Like, to use that example, because in Dragon Ball there really is no stakes unless Piccolo dies. And even then there's other Dragon Balls on other planets. So it's like,
but then you've got Namekian Dragon Balls. So there's.
Yeah, I'm glad Daniel Vance brought this up, by the way, because I did forget when the Han breathing apparatus made them. Well, she was from the same time period as the rest of Discovery, so I believe now that she's in the 32nd century, they've done some little bits and bobs, and she's able to breathe.
They did a thing.
Yeah, I
know she had some things around her ears here as well, which probably replaces that shit.
Yeah. I agree with you. That was my first thought when I saw her, because I wondered too. I'm like, oh, where's her breathing apparatus? It does distinguish her race from race with ridges B and C and D, with that breathing apparatus a little bit. But at the same time, I get why they did it also, why they got rid of it, just because, like you're in the 32nd century, they probably, through genetics, they might have even been able to adapt their respiratory system with that, or implant some kind of, technology that was able to, make it so they can breathe, in any atmosphere or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally agree. I
I mean, they've got
you got to try and put it together yourself sometimes without an explanation. Yeah, it makes sense. You know, she's in that time period. She's obviously got new shit.
Yep. I'd just like to say one thing about touching on the tension that we've been
no, you
mentioning
don't get
about
to
the
think
giant brain
nothing,
ship.
Mage.
Oh, okay, then move along.
No.
Continue. No, I feel like they really built the tension by not allowing us to know the loadout of that ship. It's kind of like with Jaws, where you don't see the shark till the very end. It made it scarier. You know, the human imagination, you can come up with things that are infinitely scarier than anything that the writer can come up with and put on screen. The human brain will come up with the most terrifying unknown.
Not knowing is more scary than knowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I mean, one of the things I think Nemesis did well was the way they sold the scimitar. You know, like when the scimitar decloaked and like they were able to see all the manifest, or not the manifest, but the layout of the scimitar, and like they were talking about all of these weapons on it, and that did kind of make the scimitar infinitely intimidating, in my opinion. That's one of the things. I think the scimitar is one of the things that Nemesis got right. So I don't know. I think there's a place for both. Like I either that or yes, it was intimidating in the beginning that they couldn't scan it, but maybe towards the end, maybe they could have somehow, maybe they got a quick scan in like when they went to beam, because I don't know if they still need to lower their shields to beam or not, but they did back in the 23rd century. So maybe not. Maybe not.
This
now.
is a good comment from Vance. I thought the size difference in the ships was a good tell of how species dealt with the burn. One hid and one became an empire. Yeah, but they all still rely on It's funny that dilithium is the only fuel source in space. But regardless, they did try to make a deal with it with the Breen later on in this episode. For Mole and Lark regarding offering them dilithium, but they didn't want to take it. Yeah, so
which is crazy. So how does that Breen ship travel? Like, do they? Because obviously the Federation is just not handing out dilithium to the Breen. So do they have their own source of dilithium that wasn't destroyed in the burn, or because they didn't seem too fussed about getting all that dilithium?
Yeah,
I don't know either, but in my opinion, like how big space is and how many species of aliens there are, even an entire planet made of dilithium wouldn't be enough to cater for the whole universe. So there must be more dilithium out there that we don't know about. It also depends on how big that planet is. I mean, even if it's the size of Jupiter or the size of a star, it still probably won't be enough. I mean, it's hard to tell. And you mentioned that the only one place it's like Dune, isn't it? Like the only place you can get the spice is in this one place. The only place you get dilithium is in this one place for the whole effing universe. It's ridiculous.
And I doubt it's the universe. I mean, either that or the Breen are just so like closed borders that maybe they had dilithium the entire time and just obviously they didn't share it with anyone. I mean, they did mention that what's his face's race? What is his race again? I can't remember. I always forget the name for Commander Grumpy Pants. What is his race name?
He's
when they said it,
Kelleran.
Kelleran?
Yeah, so he's a Kellerite.
Yeah, so he did mention that the Breen did turn his homeworld into an outpost. So does that mean that his homeworld is still under Breen control? I don't think they mentioned that they'd been liberated. So does that mean the Kellerites are under, their Kellerite is under Breen control, and Commander Grumpy Pants is just obviously in Starfleet because he's a refugee? You know what I mean? Like in the Federation.
Well, I think it planet, by the sounds of things, he's on a planet which lived on a planet that it was like annihilated by the Breen. He told some stories about collateral damage when they were at war with some other species, and their planet happened to be in the way. So,
but yeah, I mean, I wonder if the Breen did have, still had dilithium. Some of it blew up, but I wonder if they had their own source of dilithium, and that's what gave them precedent to expand as they did into an empire rather than just being the not the consortium. What's the
Imperium?
No, it's an Imperium now, but what was it before? The Breen Confederacy.
I don't remember.
I mean, these are unfortunately, these are the plot holes that when it comes to writing stories and expanding on them,
Yeah. No, these are just I'm just headcanoning right now. I'm just theory crafting. I don't think they've even given us a remote answer on this, but this is good because we're asking these questions about the Breen and about, this is good Trek. This is where we are wanting to understand these things more, not frustrated with, the Michael Burnham show. You know what I mean? Like I like this. This is good Trek. I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time not giving this a 10 this week. So
just looking at the Breen as well, they look like a very formidable enemy as well, which we have come across creatures, species like them, this warrior race, and but still they with the size of their fleets and their ships, they definitely come across as somebody you wouldn't want to mess with.
Absolutely.
Unless you have tribbles to spare.
Right. Nice tribble joke. There was also Reno had a nice little nod to a character that had a little Easter egg joke. 7 of limes.
Yeah,
I thought I misheard that. I had to watch that I had to watch that twice.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she said,
and that Reno got around.
I thought she said 7 limes. But no, it was 7 of limes, and I was like, okay, I was right the first
7
time
of
around.
9s.
They named a cocktail after Annika, and we have a name for the bar. It's Red's Lounge.
Reds.
Yeah, I think Daniel Vance mentioned it a couple weeks back that it was called Reds, but yeah,
Reds.
No, I mean, I like Zam's name for it, but 10 backwards.
10 backwards.
Yeah.
10 backwards.
Negative 10.
Yeah.
That is one of Zam's good renamings. Y'all don't know the struggle of listening to Zam rename everything and trying to figure out what the hell he's talking about.
I love it.
Oh yeah, it's like a code. I need to mail in some UPCs from my cereal boxes and get a decoder ring for Zam's names.
Just speak to a Brit and you'll be sorted. And by the way, I just noticed on your door with that how you hang your clothes, I got exactly the same style of thing. It hooks over your door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those.
Those are very common.
Yeah. Well,
he's just pointing out we both have great taste.
Yes, it brings nations together.
Yes.
All right, Mage, get us back on track.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about it a lot, but the Breen are the major kind of focus of this episode. And the argument of whether or not to hand Maul and Locke. And so I want to skip forward to the escape. What did you guys think of? It
was the predictable part of the episode.
Yes, I saw it coming.
The reality is, what is Maul and Locke to the Federation? They're nothing. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they don't offer it when it comes to looking for the MacGuffin. They don't need them for that. They've got all the clues themselves. The only thing which is to remotely keeping them there is Book's relationship with Maul, and Maul doesn't even know who the fuck Book is. So all in all, obviously the Breen are running. Maul and Locke are running away from the Breen. But it's not like they are worried about being executed or anything like that, because Locke, he's royalty, I believe. Did
we know that up until this point that he was the heir to the throne?
We knew he would. We knew he had from episode 5.
We knew he was related to the Primarch, but we didn't know that that meant he had ties to the actual Imperial bloodline.
Yeah,
because they're selling the Primarchs kind of like warlords.
That doesn't really feel like it jives them, because you've got the uncle was mistreating Locke on the planet, on the dock, but he's royalty, and he's also.
I think he was a problem child, so that's why they put him down there, was to teach him some humility. Is kind of the impression I got from when Maul was saying. I think
the
one of
mark on his uniform on his belt indicated class.
Yeah, but I think that's what she said. She said she heard a rumor that I think she heard a rumor that one of the royalty or royal family or something had been shifted down to, peasant duty or something to teach them some like not
Humility. Yeah.
yeah. Like there was some kind of mention in one of the episode where the Maul and Locke backstory happened.
But what I'm trying to get at is that regarding the Federation, why are they so desperate to keep these two guys in asylum?
The only reason why they were keeping them is they didn't want them to tell the Breen about the progenitor technology. That's the only reason. They didn't want them to tell the Breen about it, because obviously they wanted to tell the Breen about it because they wanted to get Maul out of his, his blood debt
situation.
Yeah. But
Right,
they were trying to find it
again?
first to trade it. But if all else failed, they could at least trade the information for his freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. It almost seems very unfederation like only we're supposed to know about it and nobody else is. And here's this Breen guy who could die under our hands, and yet there's the Breen over there who understands their anatomy. We should save him and maybe create diplomatic relations by saving this person, giving them back, and maybe it'll be a more healthy way of getting to know them, regardless of the fact that they're looking for this tech.
Right, they have one job.
That was, and going circling back to the escape you were talking, that honestly was I guess that might knock it down to a 9. That, I mean, because it was pretty cringe. Like, they really should have seen it coming. And why did they not shoot her, at least stun her, when he's sitting there clearly laying on the table saying, "Go, run," after he did the thing. Like, they could have just stunned her.
As soon as they were in the medical in the bed there, and they put the force field down around them, and like, oh, so when are they getting out?
Yeah,
was my first thought. And there was a little bit of a moment of fear for Dr. Colburn.
Although dude can fight.
He can fight, but
I thought that was
we
great.
did all that work to bring him back as a mushroom man, only for him to get shot right here. So I was worried for.
I'm glad he wasn't dead. I had a feeling he was stunned.
Daddy Colburn.
Yeah, no. Well, I think she took one of their guns, and it was automatically set to stun anyway. Yeah, so they were automatically set to stun. So that was my thought. And plus, when you saw the blue, because normally blue indicates stun, red indicates kill. So I didn't have that fear, but I can see why I could see why somebody could be like, "Oh shit, no, he's okay."
Glad he was okay in the end.
They put Maul in the small force field. Maul in the small force field. I never offered her a chair to sit in.
She'll be fine.
She would have turned it down on principle just to spite them, because that's how she is.
Yeah.
Oh.
They became, from Bonnie and Clyde, they ended up becoming Romeo and Juliet. I actually thought at one point they were both going to kill themselves. So
I thought she was when she stood back and stepped by his body. I thought she was going to set a bomb off or something once he was dead. I really did. I thought I'm like, oh, we are going full on kamikaze here, and then I thought then that was also, then the Primarch was going to die or something like that, and then that was going to escalate the whole Breen situation. I'm kind of glad it didn't happen that way, because that would have been predictable what I was thinking about.
He's a trouble starter.
He looks like a fruit roll-up.
They need ranks during our episode here.
You need what?
They need ranks.
Right. Give him some little bird uniforms.
Yeah.
Well, he's a orange shirt, whatever you call that.
Oh, come on, man! I was waiting on the Maul pregnancy reveal.
He thinks this is Enemy Mine. Have you guys seen that movie? Please tell me.
I think so, but it's been a long time.
You guys are sci-fi nerds. You haven't seen Enemy Mine? Please. Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossett Jr. They play a couple of rivals who end up stranded together on a planet, and even though they hate each other, they're kind of stuck on this planet together.
Well, they got needs,
And but the alien species Lou Gossett Jr. plays, they're like they're like asexual, so they're like they give birth, with it, regardless, whether male or female, they just give birth and stuff. And yeah, it's a great movie.
Sounds like the episode of
Oh,
DS9.
Suck it, Ginger.
And
It
Daniel
is a
Bates,
great
movie.
It's a great movie, yeah. With he's a nerd, he understands. Sammy's getting a 4 and a 5. So
Okay. You brought up something, Zam, that and I lost it. I wanted to add on to something you said, and I've lost it. I'll try to circle. Hopefully, I'll remember it and can circle back around.
Romeo and Juliet.
But it was before that. Hello, Mr. System. Thanks for joining us.
Them killing themselves or
pregnancy or.
It'll come to me, I'm sure. But you found your thing that bugged you about it now, Cheeto. I think I found mine. In the scene where Burnham's interrogating Maul and Locke and piecing everything together, is it just me, or did she piece it together really easily, like in a way that just is like she's as smart as the writers need her to be right now? I mean, I know she's a very intelligent character, but it just seemed like one of those Sherlock tells them that it's the magic boomerang kind of thing where he just solves it, but just to show off the character's smart.
Wait, which character are we talking about?
Burnham.
We're talking about Burnham.
Oh, okay. No, I feel like with her experiences, I feel like she's an adept enough, and I think she could figure it out. Like, that didn't go outside the realm for me. Like, she's a very capable captain. So I feel like she's pretty, I don't want to say hip with what was going on. Like, that's the wrong word, but you know what I mean? Like, cognizant of what's going on, and well informed. On top of that, I mean, she had a whole year in the 32nd century to kind of explore that universe before Discovery even showed up. So she does kind of know the ins and outs of the 32nd century more than most of the people on Discovery, at least that aren't from that time period.
She's got that courier experience.
Yeah, the courier experience.
For me, I didn't like the resolution on the on the MacGuffin piece, the Betazoid MacGuffin piece. That for me, from Stamets, like, he had the word feeling from book and go feeling, and then it reminded me that
these shows always do that. They hear a word and they're like, "Oh, I solved the whole thing." Yeah, what did you just say?
That is a little cringe.
God damn, I think South Park took the piss out of it by relating so many different things, and then from one particular word or something like that, which the correlation makes no bloody sense whatsoever. But regardless, and he mentioned feeling, and he goes, "Yeah, well, you use your betas. You're a telepath to a degree. Connect with this piece of metal."
Raise your hand if you were hoping for a Troy reference.
Well, and also like the whole I kind of rolled my eyes at the fact that I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this card is probably like, it's what they say, like 800 years old or something like that, and it's like there's residual feeling on it, and it's like, no, like I don't care if you like what kind of mumbo jumbo, like feel like psychic energy, like it would eventually go away. I feel like it would. I feel like even psychic energy, every energy kind of has to have a half-life. You know what I mean?
Maybe that card came from the same Office Max that the yellow notebook came from in the previous episode.
Oh.
No, but like the way he connected with his metals, like the way people would who can see the dead or remember something about the dead when they touch something of theirs.
Like the one guy from the video game.
Is it not is it a psychic?
Yeah, call book now for your free reading.
Yeah, so that's the sort of vibe I was getting, and Book is like, he's too busy wanting to get hold of Maul, and like I said, that their whole connection is just an absolute waste of time for this series. I don't like it. It's pointless.
Mage, you should turn back on the sexy eyes.
No more eye contact, Beta.
That
No,
is-
no
If you
more.
have some canned sexy time music.
It wasn't sexy eyes. It was stoned off his fucking bumper clot.
Listen,
Yeah,
I am going to.
What
That
the
is a
hell does that
nomination
mean?
for the Golden Glasses for next year. Absolutely, Major Rage's AI eye contact, high candy. There we go.
You would have
Got
thought,
it.
High
oh,
candy.
AI
like
contact.
because like he lags sometimes. Oh, he's lagging. Oh, the reality is that he's just taking a big fat fucking puff of his spliff. He doesn't want us to see it.
It's right off screen. It's right
And
over
then-
there.
And then like he comes back. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to lag out. But I was dragging out. That's why. So
Doobie.
His eyes were lagging. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, back on track. Oh gosh,
Back on track. Yeah, let's move on to the talking about members only content. That's right. That's for the patrons, baby.
Well, actually, I just started up our membership. I gotta actually work on that tonight. I gotta now that we actually have like the ability to do memberships and stuff like that now. So
Oh,
yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Moving up in the
doing
world.
we're gonna be doing some badges and stuff like that. We'll talk about that later. Back on track.
that's
Yeah.
for the plug. Got
Yeah,
it.
that's for the plug.
Badgie.
The plug.
Butt plug.
Theplug.com. So let's talk about the search for the MacGuffin. We did a little bit of the Tilly arc was tied in with that, where Stamets has to get her back on track because she's just going to go AWOL and check on the
Can we
cadets.
talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Go ahead,
What
Donkey.
were her orders at the time? Like Stamets just goes, "I need your help." Oh, I was going back to the academy. Well, I need your help.
I
What
don't
were her
think she had orders. I think she was worried about her cadets, and that's actually
so she just like
that's
okay.
actually one other thing that bugged me was I'm like, we get it. You have a show called Starfleet Academy coming out. You have to get to your cadets. We understand you love your cadets. Like they are pushing it every episode.
Focused, though.
You're telling me there's nobody else on that or wherever they may be capable of looking after them? Like you're playing mama hen for all of these kids. No, please.
Hey,
it's ridiculous.
Treat them like it's Star Trek 2 and put them to work.
Well, I like the fact that with her in Adira, like she could probably see a little bit of herself in Adira.
Adira's the new Tilly for sure.
The nervous energy. But even then, Adira herself has gone through enough of an arc, especially after getting that symbiote put inside her, that she should, come on, girl, like you shouldn't be all fucking nervous all the time. You're a different person now that symbiote's inside you.
They don't really lean. I don't think they lean into that enough because I mean that was a big character crux with not crux, but like a cornerstone of Jadzia
Admiral Tall.
Yeah, like I don't understand why they don't lean into that.
They could
more.
explore that some more because the symbiote was joined with an admiral, and now the current host is on the bridge and isn't able to lean on some of that experience.
I'm trying to remember if they ever mentioned that because of her human physiology, maybe it blocked some of that. But I still don't think it does. I still feel like she can still like feed from those experiences of previous trills. So it's like it does feel like she's not like they're not leaning into that. They're just like, oh, it's a human trill, by the way. And so there's that. And we're never gonna really talk about it ever again.
Would require giving her more screen time.
They could have given them some tattoos.
They want to have this sort of young, naive, innocent person, but they could just find, give maybe more screen time to a new person on the bridge. Or
those all of them are lost causes.
Yeah,
and they're all gone.
Whoever's flying the ship now that they mentioned at the very end.
Yeah, they actually mentioned their name this week, and I still don't even remember who they are. And I know the one's been there before, but I think the other one on the right side, looking from the view screen, like the one on the right side, I think is new. The one on the left side has been there a couple times. I still don't know their names. I've given up on learning bridge crew names.
I think that some of these guys we'll see back in the Starfleet Academy show,
Probably
as cameos at some point here and there. So yeah, that's where we'll see them.
Hopefully they just won't be wasted potential characters.
I can see Reese and Detmer and Owo all showing up, at some point here and there.
Maybe they'll actually get character.
There we go. Here's a guy who's one-dimensional as that episode of Star Trek.
God, oh
Rick
my
B.
God!
He won't even give credit for the sake of it. Like if it's something we don't like, we don't like. Regarding
Rick,
that
you need
particular
to write
episode.
articles as to why Disco sucks every week, because I will read it. If you write articles like bullet point through the whole episode why these things suck, I will go and read it. I promise you, because I do not understand your hate for every single it all sucked. You're like the person who wants to shut down public libraries here in America, that because they're like, oh well, this book's inappropriate. Oh, but yet they've never read the book.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's on the bandwagon. You can't even when the episode is good, he'll still say it sucks because he has to.
It's a part of his character. Hey, at least we can say Rick B has more character arc than most people on Discovery's Bridge.
I don't know if I don't know if he's got much of an arc. Yeah, he's got a character, whether it's arced or not. I'm not so sure.
I see no development there. It's the same thing every week.
Yeah,
it's just hate for hate's sake.
Every time I see that picture of Spock pop up.
Well,
you could write a 1,000 word essay.
You go do it, and I will read it. I promise you. You go start a blog or vlog or blog
a special episode.
Or at least one of us will read it, I guess.
We'll all take sections. I don't know if we can all 100.
I'm asking AI to read it for me.
Have AI, please summarize this essay for me. This person is racist and hates everything Kurtzman. That's it.
By the way, when they were at Starfleet headquarters, why was space all brown and all of that? It just felt a bit weird. It
was a nebula. It was in a nebula or something. I thought
they move around,
to
right?
them, or the star.
They just needed a light source for the big green ship to block out to really intimidate us some more.
Well, for me, it would have been really cool if somehow the green ship being so big and intimidating brought the nebula with it because it's so massive.
Has its own gravitational field.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so before Rick B totally shanghaied us here, I don't know why we let him
become the new Shredder, man. You're obsessed with my backside. I don't blame
you.
The
USS Federation.
So are we liking the new? Are we liking the new ships? Like the new designs of the ships?
Really
the one they started with, it looked like a dustbuster.
I can see that.
With little floaties on the side. Some of the new ships I don't like.
I think they're too sleek. They're trying
to
make them too futuristic and
they're trying to make them too sleek. But it's really weird because the Enterprise J was it was a flat ship, right? It was pretty much.
She had some curves.
But that's what I'm saying. It kind of goes against the design of what they were going for. The Enterprise J in that future episode from Enterprise was really flat and really and I know it was kind of what was it? What's it in Doctor Who when the inside the TARDIS? Huh?
Dimensionally transcendental.
Yes.
Yeah. It's bigger on the inside.
See? So I don't. And now they're back to just normal looking ships. So it's I don't mind it because I didn't like the design of the Enterprise J. I thought that was a dumb design for a starship. But still, it's very inconsistent.
The J as a throwaway for a future time period. Okay. But these ones, they look like toasters and appliances.
I don't like the detached nacelles.
I don't either.
I'm not a huge fan.
What are we doing? Tesla style energy being transferred through space with At least have an energy tether there to show me.
Even then, I'm not a fan. They're still detached to a degree. If your ship loses power, does the nacelles just float off?
Yeah. Maybe in a saucer separation situation, the one nacelle could go with the saucer, or some BS like that. I don't know.
Well, look, Daniel Vaughn's the one with the 8. I thought it had 6, but it kind of looked like a Star Wars ship. That one, I swear I've seen it in Star Wars, and I think it was at the very beginning of New Hope when the Star Destroyer is chasing the ship Princess Leia's on. It looked like that ship. The one with the whole bunch of nacelles. Yeah.
I think what we've seen so far of the future ships are the writers think that they have to make them look really different because they're so far in the future, but they're forgetting that, hey, this is Starfleet that's been around for so long. They can go back and pull on designs from the past.
I know the Voyager J did have some Voyager-esque look to it, like, but still, it looked like the armored Voyager from Endgame.
Yeah.
He
There's got to be a few normal, regular-looking ships.
I just want to see like some random Miranda class just fly in out of nowhere.
Waiting for all Federation ships to merge into Mega Federation. Oh, I would love that. Oh, I would love that.
Super Gurren Lagann Federation ship.
All of a sudden, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme hits.
Yeah, you get like
bring me Starfleet captains with attitudes.
Rick B and I agree on something. I can't live with myself. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna make myself like the detached and Snells now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have been complaining, or not really complaining, but saying lately that we missed having Reno on screen, and this week we got more Reno.
Yes, I was very happy.
You guys happy about that? I was ecstatic.
I did like. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Well, they went with her for like, can you help us with this Betazoid shit? And I'm thinking to myself, did she really help with them with that Betazoid shit? And at the end of it, they went to Book, who kind of resolved it all. And she was mentioning about how if you want to find the answers, you can look at archives and look at and
the archive.
She put them on the idea of the big archive, though.
Yeah, or like going to a library or some shit like that. Like it really, he's just stating the obvious, So
I'm putting okay. So I'm drawing the line. Rick B said no one missed Reno. I timed him out for 1 minute. You don't mess with Reno, Rick B. You can say a lot of crap, but you don't mess with Reno. Oh God, it deleted all his messages. What the hell?
You should have done that, yeah. But regardless, but he's allowed to say stupid things. Even
I know it. I only put him out for 1 minute.
Yeah. So, but regardless, I miss Reno. I think she's an awesome character. It's a shame. It's a shame she's in such bad health. The actress in real life, but whenever I see her, it puts a smile on my face. She's awesome, and she's witty.
They had a good joke with her too about getting around, and good for her.
What I like about her is that somebody with her personality might come across as a bit of an arsehole, but she's not. She's actually very likable. In a way, she likes to get along. She likes being communicated. She likes people. She likes to talk with them, but she's just got a bit of a dryness about her. But it works differently. She's not. She's not confrontational or sly or anything like that, or sarcastic. She's just different, but she's also friendly at the same time, which I like about her. She's an awesome character.
Rick B, I did not know that it would delete all of your comments, so I do apologize. I just wanted to put you in timeout for 1 minute because I thought it'd be funny. So I am sorry.
You're censoring him, Cheeto.
Rick B got to Cheeto. He triggered him. Yeah, he knows how to get to him now.
Cheeto's a special snowflake now.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
The one thing we're missing with Reno. One thing we're missing with Reno is all of the sass that they had exchanged with her and Stamets in season 2. Put those two back together so that they can, sass each other some more.
I think more of the sass came from Stamets because I felt felt like but
she went toe to toe with him, and
she knows her shit. I mean, she's an engineer, for Christ's sake, who kept a whole bunch of people alive using her engineering skills. I mean, she's somebody not to be trifled with. She knows her shit. So if somebody like Stamets when it comes to the actual work of doing the job, she's willing to put herself to the sword, so to speak. regardless of who it may be. So yeah. Awesome character.
So we're in agreement here. I loved seeing her lore explored and kind of expanded today.
I do kind of like I mean, yes, she put them on the right path, but I do kind of like the fact that it almost led nowhere. Like that happens in life where you try to follow a lead and then it just goes nowhere except for learning too much information about somebody who may or may not have needed to know about. But I thought it was
She lied on her resume. That's great. She padded the resume.
I may have padded that on my resume.
That was great.
Okay,
so I would think everybody would have a curriculum vitae by that point.
Yeah, I guess.
But hey, not everybody's to the academy or higher ed. So, do we have any final thoughts or anything like that's really sticking in our craw about the episode that we want to talk about before we put up the poll and start doing marks and final thoughts?
Ooh, I got to do the poll.
I wonder what part Mole is going to play now, because she survived because she's married, or she married Lark, and in a way she's like possibly she could be in charge, but I don't think there's ever been any interracial sort of inter-alien racial sort of breeding between Breen and other species, so they called her an abomination. But she might end up being the leader of the Breen,
I think that's probably what's going to happen here. Is
the Empress Saleya there?
Yeah, and also they mentioned another Breen faction, which I'm not sure if we've ever come across.
They've mentioned them in the past, but like in past episodes.
I wasn't really familiar who they were talking about, but there's another Breen faction, which where Michael was trying to basically bluff.
Oh, the other what's their
Tala.
Oh,
it was Tala, and that one was just brought up this episode to my recollection.
You know what? Go eat something, Ginger, and then maybe you'll stop being such a wanker, or go back to bed. He's full on dickhead today.
Oh, he just loves you, Zam. He likes pulling on your pigtails.
He likes my ass.
Well, who doesn't? It's fantastic.
I know, it's big and round and beautiful.
Tastes like brown sugar.
Yep, it does. With one piece missing, you think someone could extrapolate the device's overall use. The MacGuffin is well past its use by date, or sell by date even. Yeah.
It really is.
I rarely remember. Been so many years now. It's almost 2 decades. All right.
So, we'll start with final thoughts then. Cheeto.
We're doing thoughts, not
and marks.
Thoughts
and marks. Yes.
I am gonna give it a 9. I did come off of that 10 high when we were talking through it and everything. I'm still gonna give it a 9. I thought the pacing was great, the tension was great, the characters were great, the balance between characters was excellent this episode. Like, you guys are right. It was not the Michael Burnham show this week, and that's what we needed. Stamets, Book, Reno, I'm losing my train of thought. Even Vance, Vance got time. The president from the Vulcan president got time. Everybody got time this week, and it was not as as Burnham heavy as it normally is, and I think that is great. We got some nice beauty shots of some ships. We got some pew pews. Not maybe space pew pews, but we got like the escape things. But the only things that really are against it is, yes, I felt like the escape was a bit cringe. The guards were dumb, and that just should have never have happened. And what was the other thing that bugged me? We were talking about, and I don't even remember. But all in all, I give it a 9. I think it was a great episode, right up there with probably one of the better Strange New Worlds episodes, in my opinion. I really like this one.
No, strong episode for sure. Gonna throw it down to you, Zam.
Well, people talk about filler episodes. I'm not saying this is a filler episode, but what this episode is a setup episode. And I felt this was setting up a lot of things by bringing the Breen into play and making them the dominant antagonists of the series, and showing how powerful they are. We've done with Mole and Lark to a degree, and obviously Lark is now out of the picture. I did like this episode. I'm not on the same wavelength with Cheeto on it. I did like this episode, however, I just wasn't necessarily blown away by it. But some of the tension of it was very good. I am stuck between the 7 and 8 in what to market. I think at one point I was very much going to go with a 7, but I think I'll be very generous and go with an 8. It was a good episode, and I'm hoping because I called things. I'm hoping that we get some good payoffs by obviously we get the MacGuffin next week, complete that particular quest, and then a two-parter with episode 9 and 10 regarding the Breen. See how that pans out. I expect a lot of excitement and starship battles and stuff like that. So yeah, bring it on. 8 out of 10.
Just really quick before Lord Donkey goes. Or before Lord Donkey gives his, Daniel Vance brought up the one thing that I did forget to mention. We're going to the Badlands next week. They said we're going to the Badlands. Right. So we are talking Deep Space Nine, baby, Bajoran and all that stuff. So I'm very excited for next week's episode to see the Badlands again. And then he brought up the point that when they were talking about the Eternal, my brain immediately thought the Cisco. I did not think that, but that's. And good point. Maybe they're bringing it. Maybe Avery Brooks somehow will make a cameo. Like about.
I like to see
that was just
that could get a 10 out of you.
That definitely would get.
Well, it depends on the episode. It could be a garbage episode. I mean, the Cisco ain't gonna save it. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Donkey.
Yeah, I was leaning towards a 9. I think Zam's right. It was a good setup episode. They did give everyone a good amount of time so that it wasn't the Michael Burnham show, and even mentioning some of those who were off world, because we know they can't have everyone in the episode. Like poor Saru is just being mentioned by that he's over by Breen space or something. Oh, my cats are killing each other. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Let's see what happens. How they bring it home.
I feel like Saru's arc though is finished. I really like. I mean, I don't mind him showing up every now and then.
It's not finished till we see a wedding.
Well, okay, that too, but still, I bet you that's how they're going to end the season.
Bring him back on Starfleet Academy. That would be a good way to see him again. I would love to see him on that. Yeah. That's if next time I see him, that's where I want to see him.
Yeah, but I think in Discovery, I think his arc is kind of over. Like he's been the reluctant science officer, the chief science officer. He then has gone to captain, and then he went to first officer, under Burnham, and then now he's like an ambassador. I really feel like his whole arc has kind of come full circle for me. And then you're right. Like the wedding would just be like that. The cream of the crop, like it would be. That's the little, and I think that should be in the last episode.
And that's where Jonathan Frakes should show up
as the pastor. Yes, or whatever Vulcans have as for weddings. Oh, and we have a GM viewing, new here, great review. And the Rick B drama storyline hooked me. I'll be back.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. We're here every Wednesday or every Thursday talking about Trek. No episodes. And Wednesday with Axonar After Dark.
Yeah, and also the Rick B will be back. I boot him on. I didn't know it delete all his comments. I only wanted to put him in timeout for a minute because he trash talked Reno.
Because he got triggered. That's why.
That's right.
All right.
You don't talk about Reno like that.
He's our nemesis. Don't forget we're on Sunday for
Doctor Who. And World's Gone Insane tomorrow. There's all the plugs, everybody. Mage hasn't even
not the membership. What about? I want to hear about the memberships, and then I'll give my mark.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you want to hear about the memberships, that's fine. The memberships are just like it's $4.99 a month. You get exclusive perks, and you get you're gonna get badges and stuff like that. So I mean, it's been there for a little bit, but like we've never really pushed it, So and also I mean, there's the Patreon where we also have tons of exclusive content. Zam has some food reviews on there and some food cooking where he does the actual cooking with like
some classic reviews as well. Like a review shows that not necessarily new, but I've come across, watched it, binged it, loved it, reviewed it, like Lilyhammer, for instance, which is a very good gangster drama. You liked it, yeah? It's awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
With Steve Van Zandt, that was awesome. I had a good time with it. It almost felt like the Silvio Dante spinoff from Sopranos.
And I mean, you know, we've got other, like, all of our Debatamania matches are on there. Like, not the whole event, which is available on YouTube, but you know, each individual matches. So let's say you enjoyed watching Zam and Majo Rage battle over whether Enterprise was good or not. That's on there. You can just watch it over and over and over and over again, as many times as you please. But
no, don't remind people to watch me lose.
Yeah.
Well, technically, if they watch the raw footage that I put on there, they wouldn't know, because the voting part isn't on there. So it's just the debate.
They can.
Well, then I should shut up about the outcome.
Yeah,
they can form their own opinion.
Anyway, go ahead. But you know, that's just the memberships is like there's stickers and stuff like that, and there's exclusive updates and blah 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 blah.
No, sounds like good rewards and a great way to engage with the channel and help support us. You know, we're all just regular working Joes, just doing what we got to do to get by, but we get together and do this for fun and enjoy entertaining people along the way. Enjoy talking with each other.
Really, the more support we get, the more we can do, is what it boils down to. You know what I mean? Like, everybody says it online. It's kind of cliche, but it's true. The more support we get, the more we can do. Whether your support is a simple click and a like, a share, a subscription, or even, as I said, like, it's some kind of paid monetization. Like, everything everybody does helps support the channel. So we appreciate it. We love coming together and doing this. We don't do it. I mean, trust me, we ain't making money off this stuff. So, you know, so we do it because it's fun. And we hope at least that everybody would, like, if they did feel like they wanted to show some monetization support, that's where they can do it. There's a Patreon, there's the membership. If you're on Twitch, there's, you know, you can, I think you can, I don't know if you can actually subscribe to us yet on Twitch, but still, like, that, you know, it is what it is.
No, lots of places to follow NerdTube content. What you got, Zam?
No, just going back to the episode. Did you notice how I forgot her name now? Saru's girlfriend,
the Vulcan president,
Tarina.
Yeah, like how she was able to understand the language of the Breen.
Oh, that was such a badass moment.
I loved it.
That was such a good moment. You know, God, you guys are bringing. See, now I'm almost like wanting to bump it back. That's one of the reasons why I'm giving it an.
But the fact that they would go there and basically insult them, and they had a translator, even though they didn't really need a translator. But they just insult them in their own language.
Any woman that's ever got a mani and petty knows exactly that feeling. If they ever went and, you know, learned whatever.
Oh, there was another thing as well. Like when the Breen showed themselves on screen, and you had that massive image of the Breen, and you know, and there was walking around him, and they had this big version of him. It reminded me of The Last Starfighter.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And they had a similar thing going on. Last Starfighter is the kid who plays the video game and ends up being recruited to fight a space battle.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Great film.
80s classic. Nerds need to know this shit. If you don't know this shit, then your nerd badge is being revoked. Fantastic movie, loved it. But yeah, it reminded me of that as well, which was awesome. So yeah.
All right. Well, like I said a little bit ago, giving it a 9.
Daniel Vance knows his shit, by the way. That's what I like.
Oh yeah, I know.
He knows you, but he's like me when it comes to knowing shit. Like, you know, we really know our fucking sci-fi, and I'm happy.
He's an American you actually like.
Well, he's an American that shouldn't be an American. All right.
Anyway, so Mage, you were saying you gave it a 9.
Yep, lots of stuff there to love. I'm pretty much in full agreement with you guys. I only had a couple of nitpicks, one of which is, I didn't mention earlier, is kind of, I feel like they missed an opportunity with the Culber thing. They didn't really explore that arc they're trying to do with him. But I have a feeling there's...
You
are? That arc is bollocks, no offense. I'm not feeling it, and
I'm glad he got some action this week, man. He can throw hands.
But it's one of those things where they bring something up, they create a thread, and then they just drop it. They just leave.
I think there's footage. Yeah, I think there's footage on the cutting room floor.
I don't think that there's necessary. Oh, look, he was busy having to deal with, with Locke, and like there was no time for him to talk about his feelings. It was a very for the whole of the Federation. It was just too tense. We got to deal with the Breen. They're on our asses right now. They're infiltrating our base. They just beamed in a whole bunch of them. The massive Daft Punk cosplay going everywhere. You know what I mean? So I felt like it wasn't. There was not a moment for him to relax to express himself. But when he does talk about this stuff, it's a moment of levity. But we never got that in this episode. Yeah, Xanto will be back soon, man. Don't worry about that.
Soon? He's still got like 7 months.
That's soon, and depending on how you look at it.
All right. Major Rage, drive us home.
I'm going to take us out. It's about time. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. You've been watching NerdTube. I want to thank my co-hosts, Cousin Cheeto, Zemario, and Ensign Donkey. It's always a pleasure chatting with you gents. But don't forget to like the video, share this out to your friends, subscribe to NerdTube, or follow us on X if you're viewing there. Are we live on X this week?
Yep, we are live on X, Twitch, and YouTube.
Well, excellent.
Yeah, we've got people watching on X right now. It's Twitter, for fuck's sake. I'm dead naming X. Yeah, it's Twitter. And yeah, we've got 3 people watching on
dead
Twitter.
Names.
Yeah, and yeah, so join us on YouTube.
Damn's as bad as Elon Musk.
And you can leave some comments.
Yep, it's at NerdTube for life. Hit us up in the comments, but most importantly, until next time, take care and live long and prosper.